I've had some feedback on my documentary now, so I'm going to talk about how that went and what was the general opinion on my documentary. So first of all, I'll talk about if I felt that it adhered to the original brief, and the answer to that is yes. It was how I wanted it to go, and it was for the correct sort of amount of time that it had to be, and I think that it went pretty well. I was really pleased with how it sort of used the research that I found out. For example, my all of the conventions that I'd picked out on documentaries, I was really pleased how the audience got a sense of that coming through to them, which, I was pleased with that because I used quite a lot of them. I really analysed them quite thoroughly to pick out the key aspects and recurring themes in them, and I felt that the majority of the recurring themes I should keep for mine, and I think I have. I wouldn't say I've really, as such, challenged any conventions. I think a lot of it is generally consistent to a documentary, which I think that perhaps is a good thing, and it's what I was aiming for. So it's quite pleased me. It's met my aims, so I'm very pleased with that. So it's gone really as according to plan. I touched on this earlier, and the audience, they gave me some very good feedback for it. They thought that it was thoroughly planned, which is good, because that was one of the senses I wanted to come out of it. I wanted a clear indication of structure. Some specific comments that I got was, if this was on TV, I would watch it, which that's good, because obviously I wanted it to feel like a realistic documentary. And another comment that came through was they liked the sense of progression, how it's building from one point to another point. Again, that's another encouraging thing, because that is sort of quite a common theme in documentaries, and I really wanted it to feel like it was sort of an extract from a bigger documentary, not I've thrown everything into one. I wanted it to feel like, oh yes, we're starting at this point and then we're going to this point. So it was really good for me to get that kind of feedback. I also got some improvements for it. That's quite helpful as well, because it helped me improve it. Stuff perhaps on the voiceover, saying that perhaps it could be a little bit better quality, which I understand, and thankfully that's quite a straightforward thing to do. But they said it would improve the quality, which again, for a documentary, it is all about quality. So that is really important. And really it's helped me learn quite a lot about my documentary. It's helped me learn that it is quite an accurate representation, and also that a couple of tweaks and people thought it's quite realistic. The combination of the main product and the ancillary product worked quite well again. The radio advert, it included bits from the actual documentary, which that's good, because you need to promote it, so you really need to have a bit in there to lure people in. And I thought that worked well with the overlap between the two. It made it it made it made it quite memorable. So people hear the bit from the radio advert, and they're thinking, "Oh, yeah, that was quite a good bit. I want to know more about that." So therefore, they watch the documentary to find out more. And also in the double page magazine spread that I did, there wasn't perhaps as much of an overlap, but it was based on sort of an interview type thing, sort of like a magazine interviewing me as the sort of presenter of the show, asking me about the things that are in there, asking me about the experiences through there. So yeah, a lot of it is interlinking and relatable, which I guess that is a very important thing, because obviously if they don't link in, then people could think you're talking about totally different things. So it's important that there is the clear sense of, I'm talking about this. But so yeah, that worked very well. There perhaps are a couple of things that I would change if I did it again. I think maybe I would add in perhaps more a variation of shots. Obviously, I was unfortunately not able to do the shots, perhaps all of the shots that I wanted to do. For example, kicking the ball in, kicking it out, some of the high angle shots. So I think perhaps with a bit more research, a bit more perhaps exploring, I may be able to find more locations, and perhaps get a better variety of shots, which is an important thing in the documentary. And I'm not entirely sure I have perhaps a vast range, but I do have a range, which that is pleasing. But I think that perhaps there is room for improvement there. Also, perhaps maybe I could find other locations. I think perhaps for the Norwich section, there are a few shots that are sort of mainly of a similar thing. For example, the river. I know they're on different points, there's different places to look at, but maybe I could have explored a bit and found some. But in all honesty, some of the places which I wanted to go to, it was quite hard to get access to them and to find a good place to put the camera. For example, one of the places where I went to put Tombland in Norwich, the traffic there was unbelievable, and really, for what I wanted, I didn't think it was worth it. So yeah, but I think maybe a range of locations and finding perhaps ways around some of the problems that I had. For example, the weather. Perhaps thinking about different things I could do to stop that becoming an issue. But other than that, I think I wouldn't change a great deal, because the feedback I got was pretty good and it was what I was aiming for. So yeah, that was actually a good thing.